Hello and welcome back to Major League Talk Giants edition. Today is Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. My name is Henry South. This is episode 14, and we're going to be reviewing the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So this was the 13th series overall and the first series against Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Giants traveled to the desert for this four-game series over the weekend. Game one went well, with Casey Schmidt staying hot and with Cobb's fantastic performance helping the Giants to a 6-2 win over the division rivals. The next three games didn't go quite as planned, however. Game two saw a little back and forth between the teams, with the Giants running a bullpen game, Ross Stripling getting the most innings. The Giants did drop the game, however, 7-5. Game three was less of an even matchup, with the Giants batters having to go up against ace Zach Gallen, who only gave up one run, which came in the first. DeSclafani and the defense were able to hold the Diamondbacks runless for 5 full innings. However, things took a turn in the sixth, with DeSclafani being pulled after loading the bases with no outs. Alexander would come on in relief, and the Diamondbacks took advantage, with the Giants ultimately losing 7-2. Game four saw Webb take the mound and give up only one run on 3 hits through 7 innings, with the game tied 1-1 going to the bottom of the ninth. The Giants were searching for a shutdown inning and extras. However, a leadoff walk would be their undoing. A double would allow that walk to score from first and give the Diamondbacks the 2-1 walk-off win on Mother's Day. Giants dropped 3 of 4 to the Diamondbacks in the desert and are once again on a losing streak. Conforto did have a solid series, going 5 for 14 with 2 home runs, 2 walks, and only 1 strikeout. I thought that would be good to mention there. So let's go ahead and get into these games. Game one, Alex Cobb was the starter. He threw a great game, going 7 scoreless innings. His final line was 7.1 innings pitched, 7 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. His season ERA is now 1.7, and that leads the National League and is good for third overall in MLB. As for our lineup, he had Estrada in second. He kind of had a rough series. He went 0 for 4 in this game with 2 strikeouts. Flores was DHing 0 for 5 with a strikeout. Haniger in left 0 for 4. Davis at third, 2 for 4. Conforto in right, 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Schmidt at short, he went 4 for 4 with a home run, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs. Bart was catching. He went 1 for 4 with a run and an RBI. Wade Jr. was at first. He went 1 for 4 with an RBI. And Johnson was in center field, 0 for 2, also with an RBI and a walk. Totals, we went 8 for 33, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 6 runs, and only 1 home run. The first reliever was Tyler Rogers, who came out to finish the 8th inning with a runner on first and 1 out. He only needed 5 pitches to get an inning-ending double play. Cole Waits came out for the ninth due to having a 6-0 lead. He gave up a single, a walk, and then got a ground out before he gave up a 2 RBI single. This would lead Kapler to bring out Duvall, who would strike out the next 2 batters to end the game. The offense left 5 on base, went 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Schmidt had a double. Conforto ground into a double play. Estrada was caught stealing and successfully stole a base. The defense turned 3 double plays, picked off a runner. Cobb had 1 wild pitch, and Estrada was hit by a pitch. All right, so that's the overall game. Let's go ahead and get into the pitcher report. Like I said, Cobb was the starter, so he threw 104 pitches to start the game. 39 splitters, 38 sinkers, 26 knuckle curves, and 1 slider, just for fun. Splitters were all coming in at 89.5. Knuckle curves were averaging 83.1. Sinkers were averaging 94.5. As far as the movement, that knuckle curve had the most drop, obviously, kind of tailing away from what would be a right-handed batter, and then the splitter and the sinker would be coming into or toward a right-handed batter. Relatively same release point as usual. His strike zone, there's not like a huge trend line. Like you wouldn't really be able to plot like a trend line going up and in to down and out or anything like that. It's kind of just one big circle on this one for this game. Nothing really too high. A lot kind of like low and in, I guess. He threw 59 pitches in the strike zone, 45 out of the zone. Batters would swing at 41 of them. They swung mostly at his splitters and only swung at a couple of his knuckle curves. They took mainly knuckle curves and sinkers. 39 balls, 29 strikes, 24 of which were called, 5 were swinging, and 36 of his pitches were contacted in some way, 13 for foul tips, 16 hits for outs, and 7 base hits. 10 hard hits. 3 of those were line drives, and the rest were ground balls. So another good game for Cobb. As far as the umpire, this is someone we've actually seen before calling balls and strikes while the Giants are playing. Charlie Ramos, or Ramos, however you want to say that. For this game, his overall accuracy was 91%. Overall favor plus 0.45 runs for the Giants, and overall consistency 91%. Impactful missed calls. First one in the bottom of the ninth, Waits to Gurriel Jr. 0 outs, runners on first and second, 2-0 count. A ball is called a strike. Number 2, bottom of the eighth, Cobb to Rojas. 1 out, base is empty, 3-2 count. Strike is called a ball. And top of the third, Henry to Haniger. 1 out, runner on second, 2-2 count. Strike is called a ball. His called ball accuracy was sitting at 90%, with 10 of 104 called balls being true strikes, and his called strike accuracy was 91%. 4 of 45 called strikes were true balls. So not a bad game for him to be officiating. The last time we saw him was Wednesday, April 19th, when we played Miami. That was also a game that the Giants won 5-2. And between these two games, his called strike accuracy stayed the same, 91%. His called ball accuracy dropped from the Miami game to this game from 94% to 90%, but his favor was still for the Giants. So fun stuff there if that kind of stuff, does it for you. All right, moving on to game 2. Game 2 was a bullpen game. Brebbia opened, only pitching the first inning, getting 2 strikeouts and allowing no runs. Stripling relieved him and pitched most of the innings at 3.1 innings pitched, giving up 5 hits, 4 runs, 2 home runs, walking 2 and striking out 2. Stripling struggles continue. And it was kind of odd how they did the pitching in this game. We'll get into that a little bit later. The lineup, Wade Jr. playing first and then going to center field. He was 3 for 5, scoring twice. Estrada, he went 0 for 5 in this game with 2 strikeouts. Davis was over at third. He went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a strikeout. Peterson was DHing, and then eventually Bart would come on to take his spot in the batting lineup and take over the catching duties from Sable. Peterson was 1 for 1 with 2 walks, 2 runs, a home run, and 2 RBIs. Bart was 0 for 1. Haniger was in left field, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Conforto in right field, 2 for 4 with a home run. Schmidt at short, he went 1 for 4 in this game with an RBI. Sable started out catching. He went 1 for 3, and then Flores would come on to pinch hit in his spot and then play first base. He went 0 for 1. Wisely was in center, 0 for 2. And then VR would come in to pinch hit in his spot. He went 0 for 1. And then Johnson would come in after that, play center field, and he went 0 for 1. So no productivity out of the number 9 spot. Total 8 for 33 with 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 5 runs, 2 home runs. After Stripling for pitching, Junis would come out of the pen. He'd finish the 5th inning. Between him and Stripling, it was a 1-2-3 inning. His final line was 1.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. Wood, see, gets a little weird, huh? Wood would come out for the 7th, giving up 3 hits and 1 run, walking 1 and striking out 1. And then Alexander would pitch the 8th, giving up only a hit, getting a flyout and 2 groundouts. The offense would end up leaving 8 on base. Went 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Peterson and Davis hit 2 out RBIs. Davis, Wade Jr., Schmidt, and Sable all hit doubles. Peterson was hit by a pitch. The defense turned 1 double play. Sable had a pass ball, and the Diamondbacks successfully stole a base. Now back to how weird it was with this pitching, right? So to get into the series to begin with, the Giants didn't really announce all 4 starting pitchers before the series started. Like, they ended the last series, and then it was TBA, 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 TBA. So then we decide, okay, we're going to activate Wood, and then we're going to have Brebbia open. Oh, and then Ross Stripling's going to come in and pitch 3 1/3. By the way, here's Wood for a little bit. And it felt, it just felt weird. Alex Pavlovich put it in a very good, he more succinctly described just how weird it was. But so I'm not going to look at Brebbia for this one. I'm going to look at Stripling, seeing as he got 3 1/3. So that was the most out of all the pitchers. He threw 65 pitches, 21 four-seamers, 19 changeups, 14 sliders, 9 knuckle curves, 2 sinkers. That's a lot of pitches, man. 1, 2, 3, 5 different pitches. All right. Changeups averaged 85.1. Four-seamers averaged 91.8. Knuckle curves averaged 76.5. Sliders averaged 86.9. The movement on here, knuckle curve obviously having the most drop, but most of his pitches don't have like a lot of lateral movement, at least according to whatever center line they're using as a reference. Sliders a little bit away, four seamers a little bit in, changeups are the most. They kind of go a little bit further in, but not much. Release point of over 6 feet. Strike zone. This one's like more just straight up and down. Not too much is like too far in or out from a right-handed batter. He threw 31 pitches in the strike zone, 34 pitches out of the zone. Batters would swing at 23 of his pitches and take 42. Kind of even distribution. It looks like they might have swung at more of his changeups than they took. 26 balls, 17 strikes, 16 of them called, 1 swinging. 22 of his pitches were hit in some way, 10 for foul tips, 7 hits for outs, 5 base hits. 6 hard hit balls, 2 grounders, 2 line drives, 3 fly balls. So, and then calling the balls and strikes is another man that we've seen from our infamous Mexico City series. Alfonso Marquez is behind the plate, calling the balls and strikes. Overall accuracy 94%, overall consistency 91, and overall favor plus 1.77 runs for Arizona. Impact from his calls, bottom of the second, Stripling to Ahmed, 0 outs, runner on first, 3-2 count, a strike is called a ball. Top of the fifth, Nelson to Wisely, 0 outs, bases empty, 3-2 count, ball is called a strike. That's 2 against the Giants. Top of the first, Nelson to Estrada, 0 outs, runner on first, 0-0 count, ball is called a strike. So all 3 of these impact from missed calls went against the Giants. Fun stuff. Called ball accuracy, 96%. 4 of 111 called balls were true strikes. Called strike accuracy, 88%. 7 of called strikes were true balls. And like I said, the last time we saw this man was when we played, or when the Giants played in Mexico City and lost 16-11. His overall favorite there was also against the Giants, but only plus 0.48 runs for San Diego at that time. His called strike accuracy did get better in this game against the Diamondbacks. The game against the Diamondbacks was 88. Back in Mexico City was 78. His called ball accuracy around the same, 96 in Arizona, 95 in Mexico City. But yeah, don't really want to see him again. Oh well. All right, so on to game 3. Game 3 was a DeSclafani start. He was doing well for 5 innings, holding the Diamondbacks to 0 runs and defending a 1-0 lead, but he struggled in the 6th. His final line was 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, because he did get pulled off with the bases loaded. 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. And part of the story with DeSclafani for this is apparently he's got a toenail injury. He had dropped a piano bench on his toe, and he was dealing with that. So that might be some of what was planned into that, especially if you look at one of the plays. It was an infield single, and he ran to get it, but he just could not quite get to it in time. Anyway, moving on to our lineup. Estrada was at second. He went 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, but did score a run. Flores was DHing. He went 1 for 3 with a walk and an RBI. Wade Jr. was at first. He went 1 for 3 with a walk. Davis was at third, 0 for 3 with an RBI. Haniger, left field, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Rough day for him. Conforto, 2 for 4. Schmidt at short, 2 for 4. Bart catching, 0 for 2 with a strikeout, but then Sable would come in to pinch hit and then take over the catching duties. He went 1 for 2 with a strikeout. And then Wisely in center field, 0 for 3, but he did score a run. Total 7 for 32 with 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 2 runs. After DeSclafani left 3 runners on, Alexander would come in, and there were no outs. So bases loaded, no outs. Alexander, come try and get a shutout inning. Not going to happen. He gave up 1 hit and walked 1, allowing 4 runs to score. 3 of those were credited to DeSclafani, and striking out only 1. Taylor Rogers would come out for the 7th. The defense working behind him to get the 3 outs, giving up no hits and runs. Tristan Beck came out for the 8th, striking out 1, giving up 3 hits, one of which was a home run, and 3 runs. The offense left 6 on base, went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Flores and Conforto hit doubles. Flores had a 2-out RBI, and Schmidt was caught stealing. The defense turned 1 double play, and Alexander and Beck each had a wild pitch. The Giants intentionally walked 1 batter, Christian Walker. So DeSclafani, 5 total innings, 77 pitches, 33 sliders, 21 sinkers, 10 four-seamers, 9 changeups, 4 knuckle curves. That's a lot. Changeups averaged 85.1. Four-seamers averaged 93.1. Knuckle curves averaged 82. And sinkers averaged 92.5. With the sliders coming in an average 86.5. Movement, sliders and knuckle curves were more away. Changeups, four-seamers, and sinkers were more tailing into a righty. Knuckle curves had the most drop, with the sliders and changeups having more drop than the four-seamers and sinkers. All relatively same release point. Strike zone, again, this not a huge trend line that can be really plotted here. There were some that were more away, like pretty far out away from a righty, but this is mainly like top to bottom. DeSclafani threw 39 pitches in the strike zone, 38 pitches out of the strike zone. Batter swung at 32 and took 45. Looks like they took more of the sliders, but everything else is kind of like an even difference there. 31 balls, 17 strikes, 14 of them called, 3 of them swinging. All 3 of the swinging strikes were sliders. The called strikes were sinkers and sliders. And then batters were able to hit 29 of his pitches, 12 for foul tips, 12 for outs, and then only 5 base hits. 4 hard hits, 2 of them ground balls, 1 line drive, 1 fly ball. And behind the dish, calling the balls and strikes, Ramon de Jesus, 93% overall accuracy, 92% overall consistency, overall favor, plus 0.76 runs for San Francisco. Impactful missed calls, bottom of the 8th, Beck to Longoria. 1 out, runners on first and second, 0-2 count. A ball is called a strike. Bottom of the 2nd, DeSclafani to Walker. 0 outs, bases empty, 3-1 count. A ball is called a strike. And then top of the 4th, Gallen to Flores, 0 outs, bases empty, 2-1 count. Strike is called a ball. Called ball accuracy was 96%. 3 of 84 called balls were true strikes, and his called strike accuracy 86%. 3 of 37 called strikes were true balls. All right, so let's get into the last game here. That was a Webb day. He delivered his fifth straight quality start and second straight start, allowing only one run. His final line was 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. As for our lineup, Wade Jr. first, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. Estrada at second, 2 for 4 with a strikeout. Conforto in right, 1 for 4, home run. Davis DHing, 0 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk. Sable in left, 0 for 2 with a strikeout and 2 walks. Schmidt third, this was his first hitless day, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And then Crawford at short, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, and Bart catching 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout. Wisely in center, 0 for 3. A total of 3 for 30. 12 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 run. So Tyler Rogers came out for the 8th inning, getting 2 flyouts and a ground out. In the 9th, he walked the first batter in 7 pitches. Then the next batter, Gurriel Jr., hit the walk-off RBI double. The defense left 5 on base, went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position, hit a double. The defense turned 1 double play. Webb hit Marte with a pitch. The Diamondbacks stole 1 base. Another Webb start, squandered. All right, Webb, 98 pitches, 41 sinkers, 32 changeups, 20 sliders, and 5 four-seamers. His changeups averaged 87.7. His four-seamers averaged 92.9. His sinkers averaged 92.5. And his sliders averaged 84.9. Sliders tailing away. Changeups, sinkers, four-seamers tailing into a righty. Relatively same release point. Strike zone, a little bit of a trend kind of going down and out from a righty. He threw 49 pitches in the zone compared to 49 out of the zone. And batters would swing at 39 of his pitches and take 59. They mainly took the sinkers and the sliders, and they mainly swung at the changeups. 39 balls, 25 strikes, 20 called, 5 swinging. And batters would be able to contact 34 of his pitches, 14 foul tips, 17 hits for outs, and 3 base hits. The base hits were 2 changeups and a sinker. 6 hard hits, 2 ground balls, 3 line drives, and 1 fly ball. As for the man calling the balls and strikes, a man named Doug Eddings. Overall accuracy, 91%. Overall consistency, 89%. And might as well not even list the overall favor. It was only plus 0.01 runs for Arizona. I think that's probably one of the most even ones we've seen so far. Impactful missed calls, top of the 9th, Castro to Sable, 1 out, bases empty, 2-2 count, a ball is called a strike. Top of the 5th, Fad to Wisely, 1 out, bases empty, 2-1 count, ball is called a strike. Bottom of the 5th, Webb to Fletcher, 0 outs, bases empty, 0-1 count, strike is called a ball. So all those impactful missed calls did go against the Giants. Call ball accuracy, 96%. 4 of 97 called balls were true strikes. Called strike accuracy, 82%. 9 of 49 called strikes were true balls. So that's the 4 games. And let's move on to the second half. So this series buries the Giants again with a record of 17-23, 6 games under 500, and 8.5 games back of the first place Dodgers, who are 26-15 at the time of writing this. The Diamondbacks separate themselves more at second, 23-18, with San Diego at third, who's also under 500. They're 19-22. The Rockies are only a half game back of the Giants at 17-24. If the Giants don't turn a corner soon, they could see themselves sitting in last place of the NL West. There are a few things I wanted to highlight this episode. first, I wanted to start by looking at Estrada, who really has emerged as the best hitter on the team this year with solid defense to back it up. He is emerging as a favorite to be an all-star for the Giants. He's really stepped up and has solidified his place as an everyday player. And while this year has been great, he has hit a little bit of a cold streak here. Over the last two series, so all 4 games against the Diamondbacks and 2 games against the Nationals, he's hit 4 for 26 with 9 strikeouts and 2 doubles and 2 stolen bases. That's enough to make his slash line go from 346, 399, 542 to 310, 359, 494. His entire month of May so far is 241, 293, 426 compared to April, where he hit 340, 389, 530. So I'd really just wanted to mention this because it is something to keep an eye on. But I have no doubt that he will hit his way out of this mild slump, a slump for him at least, especially when you compare it to what he was doing. Baseball players will hit slumps and they'll hit hot streaks. It just happens throughout the season. He hit a really good hot streak coming into the season that padded his stats a little bit. He's having this little bit of a cold streak. He's going to turn it around. I believe in him. Another player we should highlight is Casey Schmidt. So far, he started at second, third, and short. And some of these stats are going to include the game that was played yesterday against the Phillies. Yes, I'm recording this on Tuesday and not Monday. I felt like shit on Monday because I drank too much on Sunday. Anyway, Schmidt's been good at all 3 positions. He has 3 assists at both second and third, 15 assists and 3 putouts at short with 3 double plays, 2 started and 1 turned. He also has no errors so far. His bat's been exciting too. 13 for 28, slashing 464, 464, 821 with 5 runs, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 4 strikeouts, 4 doubles. Not bad for a 7-game stretch. Will the pace continues? Who knows? We would like for it to stay that way. However, the pitchers in the league will start to figure him out soon. And you kind of started to see that with Gallen and during the Sunday game. They started really trying to stretch out some of those off-speed pitches out of the zone to see what he would swing at. And we may start seeing the numbers come back to earth. However, we should just keep rooting for him, keep having fun watching him, because it is a lot of fun to see our farm system produce and develop players like this. And this is what the fans need. This is what the team needs to maintain spark and entertainment. And I, for one, can't wait to see what the rest of the season is going to hold for him. And real quick, before we move on from these 2 batters, I did see this tweet that was pretty interesting from SFG Stats on Twitter. It was at SF_Giant Stats. 2023 season stats. So remember in the offseason, there were 4 major free agent shortstops who could also play second base if they needed to, I guess. So you look at Correa, 84 weighted runs created plus, slashing 201, 277, 396 for a 673 OPS. $32 million. Swanson, I liked him. 123 weighted runs created plus, slashing 280, 383, 408 for an OPS of 791. $13 million. Bogarts, 125 weighted runs created plus, slashing 268, 365, 431, OPS of 796, $25 million. Turner, we're all familiar with him. 90 weighted runs created plus, slashing 260, 308, 405 for an OPS of 713, $27.27 million. And then we have our boy Estrada. 135 weighted runs created plus, 310, 359, 494 for an 852 OPS, $2.25 million. So just some perspective there on the free agents that the organization probably was looking at with the one that we did go after compared to Estrada, who is being a great player for us this year. Like I said, he will turn around whatever little slump he's in. Okay, so now we're going to turn to trends in pitching. So I separated the starters into two different groups. We have the main four: Webb, Wood, Cobb, DeSclafani, and the new two: Manaea and Stripling. It looked like at the beginning of the year that Kapler was working toward a rotation schedule of Webb, Wood, Cobb, Manaea, DeSclafani. Okay, that's kind of how it played out through most of the season so far, with a couple of hiccups here and there. Wood got injured and the team had to supplement with Stripling. And the team has also thrown two bullpen games, both opened by Brebbia, although the one in this series felt more like a Brebbia supplemented Stripling start, right? Brebbia came out for only one inning, Stripling pitched the next three and a third. I went back and looked at all the starts for the season. The team's record when the main four start: 15 and 14. Now, don't forget, Webb had 4 straight starts that were losses with 4 runs apiece, and DeSclafani had a fluke first inning against the Nationals with 5 earned runs. So that's kind of skewing that data right there. The new two, the team's record is 2 and 8 with one of them starting. The main four have turned in 14 quality starts. The new two have only mustered 1 quality start between the 10 games the two of them have started. That was Manaea, in case anybody's wondering. The main four have had 7 games where they gave up 3 earned runs or more. The new two have had 6 where they have given up 3 earned runs or more. The main four have had 11 games where they pitched less than 6 innings. The new two have had 9 games where they pitched less than 6 innings. For those that are wondering, the team is 1-1 in bullpen games. The most ERA a starter has given up is 5, and that happened twice, back to back, actually, with Stripling and then DeSclafani. There have been 6 instances of starters giving shutout starts. None of those belongs to the new two. Stripling has been hurt by the long ball, but more consistently pitches at least 5 innings. He's got 4 starts, 3 of which he went 5 innings, 1 of which was 3.1. Manaea started out okay and then seems to have just tumbled. He's had 4 starts where he couldn't make it 4 full innings, and he started 6 times. To be fair to him, he did have a start in Mexico City where he managed to stay on the mound after taking a line drive to the kneecap. He's tough, but his command needs work. As a fan, I truly hope these two figure it out and figure it out quick. As a realist, it looks like it'll be a good bet to just take the other team when they start. And that still doesn't absolve the bullpen from being unable to hold games and then pitch saves. And that doesn't absolve the offense from depending too much on home runs and not being able to put some balls on the ground in the gaps and string together base hits and RBIs. This is just one aspect of the game, but it's pretty glaring, the problem we have. We've got 4 starters that are dependable. Yes, Webb had a rough start, but he's getting back into his own field. And then we've got 2 other starters that we're trying to figure out which one's going to fill in that 5th spot, and they're unreliable. You can rely on Stripling to give up a few runs, 2 to 4 to 5. But other than that, not reliable in the good sense. So we'll see what happens. And that'll do it for us. Once again, I want to thank everybody for listening. I truly appreciate it. Once again, if you got any comments, pointers, tips, or any corrections, let me know. I do appreciate any and all the feedback that I get. Once again, for all the stats: Baseball Savant, Baseball Reference, ESPN, Fangraphs, Scorecards, The Athletic via Andrew Baggerly and Grant Brisbee, and NBC Sports Bay Area via Alex Pavlovich. So if you already watched the first game of the Phillies series, we're off to a decent start there. We got two more games against them, and I'll try and get that episode out Thursday after the series is done. Take it easy.